you. Tonight, just when we thought our investigation into DCFS could not get any more disturbing, a grandmother tried to rescue her grandson from tragedy in a foster home, but caseworkers not only ignored her concerns, she says they told her she was too old. What happened next is criminal. Deputies say her grandson was raped by this man. Chris Nakamoto in the investigative unit with details about the failures on full display at DCFS.
Sylvia, that grandma told me she filed 4 separate complaints with DCFS about the living conditions her grandson was in. For the past 7 years, she petitioned DCFS and the courts for custody, but says her age left her ineligible in the state's eyes to care for her grandson.
You can get off your duff and do something.
At 80 years old, Sylvia Smith is still as feisty as ever.
Tears my heart out.
Tonight, she's prepared to battle the entire state of Louisiana.
She's got to answer for it someday, not me.
Over what happened to her grandson in this messy house.
I wanted to hurt a lot of people at first, because when I grew up, you know, you fought. Somebody done something to you, you knocked the devil out of them. But you can't do it anymore. But if I had a choice, I would. Yes, I would.
Do what?
Beat them up.
Sylvia Smith's long and winding odyssey with the State Department of Children and Family Services began 7 years ago when her son signed her grandson away to foster care. That's when she spent $30,000 of her money trying to get custody of him back.
They would just say, "You're too old." I'm not too old. I can climb them trees out there.
Tonight, Smith says her grandson's foster parent, Michael Haddon, did the unspeakable to him in this house of horrors, and his nightmares are continuing from what he experienced.
He says, "Mimi, sometimes I wake up at night and I just scream."
This dilapidated house is where a 14-year-old told his grandmother he was raped multiple times a week, starting at the age of 7. And forced to perform orgies with other foster children living here. Questions are being raised about how many site visits the state made to this property.
Being able to provide adequate shelter is one of the things that we look at, and the home has to pass a home study. So at some point, that home passed that home study.
At the Capitol this week, DCFS Secretary Marquita Walters, facing mounting pressure, answered questions about multiple gaffes happening on her watch, including the rapes of foster children that the state placed in Michael Haddon's care. Smith says she doesn't believe Walters and doesn't believe site visits happened with any sort of frequency following what her grandson told her.
Are y'all crazy? Are you stupid? Because let me tell you something. Where they lived over there with him was roach infested. It had mice in there. 3 boys would sleep together in the same bed, and that's a no-no.
With so many problems at DCFS, Smith says it's time for the organization to be dismantled.
We need John Bell Edwards and that Broom person to get together and get these other people, tear this all apart, and start all over from scratch and hire people that know what they're doing.
Michael Haddon is being held on a $325,000 bond. He's charged with rape, molestation of a juvenile, and contributing to the delinquency of a juvenile. This is his first offense. DCFS told me today the matter remains under investigation, and there was nothing the agency could say. Michael?